Attract like big business energy and you will get big business results. I was speaking to everyone. And when you do this, you speak to nobody. Invisible businesses disappear, and I want you to write that down. When I hit page 1 on Google, I never, and to this day have not, worried about bookings again. Become visible. Make visibility your number one thing that you work on when your portfolio is in a pretty decent place. If I lost everything tomorrow and I had to restart my beauty business from scratch, I'm talking no bookings, no clients, no money, no investment behind me. This is a step-by-step to exactly how I would start again. My name is Kaylee and I'm the host of a podcast by Kaylee. I know, very inventive name. It works. It is a top 100 business podcast for women in beauty and business. And I have been there. I have built a business from scratch with zero investment, and a very successful one, may I add. That was so cringe, fuck me. I started out as a makeup artist with no bookings in my calendar, and I was sitting at home wondering how on earth everyone else on Instagram was getting booked. If you are right here, I'm going to tell you exactly what I would do if I had to start again. I want you to get a drink, preferably a hot chocolate. I want you to get cozy, and I want you to get your notepad out. I'm going to give you 4 or 5 things that I would do if I had to do it all over again. This is your step-by-step restart plan. So if I was going to start from a place of complete scratch, I would probably work on 4 major things. Thing number 1 that I would hyperfixate on would be my portfolio. If we are talking from a place of complete scratch, you are looking at your portfolio and it is complete nonsense. You can't use any of it. This is where I would begin, and I was absolutely here. There was a point where I was looking at my portfolio and it was just iPhone images, all of them mismatched each other. It was just basically whatever I could get my hands on was my portfolio. And there came a point where I was like, enough is enough. This is, first of all, this isn't booking for me. And when it does book for me, it books really poor quality bookings. And that is not what I want. So if you are currently here, this is where I would start. I would give yourself 1 month. This is your kind of free month. And this is going to be one of the most fun months of your career, to be honest, because there is no pressure. And what I would do in this month is I would get as many bums in seats as I possibly could. I'm talking friends, I'm talking models, but I'm talking anyone that you can get your hands on for free in my chair to do makeup on as possible, for the purposes of building up a portfolio with purpose. Now, what normally happens when you're stuck with no bookings is that your portfolio, it doesn't really speak to anyone. Now, we're going to build on that in just a sec, but in this month right here, I don't really want you to have any strategy. I just want you to have fun, get creative, and get your hands on some faces. The first reason for this is that it's going to help you develop your artistry and your signature style. When you think of any of the great makeup artists out there, I'm talking Mario, I'm talking Hung Van Gogh. When you think of them, they have a very defined signature style. And that word right there, signature style, is the thing that gets you booked. The reason why I wasn't booking people is because I was trying to attract absolutely everyone. My portfolio was glitter, it was face painting, it was film, it was full glam, half glam, natural glam, it was everything. And when you do that, you don't really look good to anyone. I always say, and I've said this on my podcast a million times, but if you're the makeup artist for everybody, you're the makeup artist for nobody. Now, we're gonna get more into that in just a minute. But for this first month, I really just want you to just get as many people in your chair as possible to allow that signature style to come through naturally. You'll find the more people that you work with, the more you will start to just gravitate towards something that you enjoy doing, whether it is full glam, whether it is liner, whether it is alternative. But that can only exist when you get your hands dirty. So many of us, we sit back and we wait for opportunities. And I see this across all businesses. We're just sitting back and we're waiting. You're going to be waiting a heck of a long time. Now, number 2, whilst you get all these beautiful models and beautiful friends of yours in, you are going to learn to use this thing. This is all you need for creating content. You do not need the latest iPhone. You certainly don't need a camera like this. You just need whatever it is that you have. You need to learn to use it well. If you need help with that, I have loads of content on that on my Instagram. Learn how to use it, learn how to light your models, learn how to pose your models, learn how to use this piece of tech that we have right here, because you can get a fully booked bridal season, you can get a fully booked commercial calendar with just this thing right here, because content is marketing and marketing is going to get you booked. So what I would do if I had to rewind the clock and if I had to do it all over again, what I did, I just waited, doing test shoots if they were offered to me, just trying to get what I could. And that made my journey very, very long. long. If you want to make it just a tiny bit faster and a tiny bit more purposeful with a little bit more energy behind it, spend 1 month on your portfolio, building just a collection of content whilst learning to use this thing. Allow yourself to be a beginner. So many of us, we are looking at the best makeup artists, we are looking at the Hung Van Goghs, we are looking at the Nicki makeups, and we are wondering, why does my stuff not look like that? Well, your stuff doesn't look like that because you're on chapter 4 and they're on chapter 400. Nobody shows the part of the journey that's messy and icky. Nobody's showing the test shoots and the content days that didn't go their way. So we need to stop comparing what we see on social media, because that is someone's highlight reel. We are not seeing the back of house. So I would get in as many faces as I could. I would play with my phone. I would try and allow myself to be a beginner without pressure, and slowly throughout that month, you are going to build up a really nice collection of content and BTS on your phone. What I want you to do is I want you to post that like they are real bookings. There is a little bit of truth to the saying, fake it till you make it. I want to shout out my friend Beth here. Beth, who I worked with at MAC. Me and her, we had a really similar, we were at like kind of the same level, the same amount of experience, you know, the same kind of level of artistry. I wouldn't really post any BTS. I would get so in my head, who wants to see that? And then I would look at Beth, and Beth taught me to be my biggest cheerleader, because nobody cheerleaded Beth like Beth. Beth posted everything. Every time she set up her kit, every job that she was on, whether it was big or small, she talked about it like it was the biggest and best job of her life. And I learned so much just watching her on social media, because she was getting these big opportunities and I wasn't. For a moment there, I would sit and be like, what is wrong with me? Why am I not getting these opportunities? But it's because I was not marketing the small stuff with big business energy. All of these content days, all of these test shoots, I want you to market the heck out of them like that person has paid you $1 million. Act like big business energy and you will get big business results. And as I started to watch Beth be her biggest cheerleader, I started to do that. If I turned up to a bridal booking, I would show me setting up my kit. If I was at a free test shoot, I would post about the free test shoot like I'd been paid to be there. And slowly that started to generate energy and excitement around my brand. How can you expect people to cheerlead you if you are not cheerleading yourself? Let's move on to tip number 2. Now, one thing I did not do very well at back in the day was niching down. I was very much the makeup artist for everybody. I didn't really know the word ideal client yet. And it wasn't until I went to a networking event, it was called the Wedding Breakfast Club here in London. They got a speaker in and this speaker started to talk all about ideal client and my mind was blown. Before that, I was very much the makeup artist for everyone. And what this meant is I really wasn't booking many people. And that was because my portfolio was showing everything. I was speaking to everyone. And when you do this, you speak to nobody. Nobody wants to hire the makeup artist that's not an expert in anything, but everybody wants to hire the makeup artist who's the expert in glowy skin or the expert in angel makeup. If I was to redo it all over again, I would dive into ideal clients so much sooner than I did. I like to say that in business, you have 3 types of client. You have your ideal client, and your ideal client is the dream boat client. They are the client that you could be besties with. They're the client that you want to book. You end that appointment or you end that booking and you're like, I wish I could book her every single time. That is who we want to target. Now, we also have the unideal client, and the unideal client is your nightmare client. Some of you guys might not have had a nightmare client. I've only ever had one super nightmare client. They're called the unideal client. What you want to do in business is you want to attract more of the ideal client, but you also want to push away, unattract, and put off the unideal client. Because listen, the unideal client doesn't mean that they're a bad client or a nasty client or anything like that. It basically just means you're not the right makeup artist for them. The nightmare client that I had might not have been a nightmare for other makeup artists. That might have been their dream client. This is a little bit subjective. Now, among the ideal and the unideal client, in the middle, you also have just clients. And in this business journey, they are going to probably make up the bulk of your money and your bookings. They probably have elements of ideal clients. Just because somebody is not an ideal client doesn't mean we should be turning away those bookings by any means. What this work does when you start to target a specific ideal client, it means you book infinitely more of the dream client, you book better quality clients, and you put off and you unattract the unideal clients. How do we find and figure out our ideal client? Now, the first place that you should look is your own experiences. Did you have a bride or a client at one point that just lit you up? Was they the dream boat of all clients? That's probably your best place to start. I would also really think about the experiences that you haven't enjoyed. So think about the clients where you've been like, I feel a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit icky, or I just wouldn't want to necessarily work with this type of artistry or type of client again. We want to make two personas. You want to create an entire persona for your ideal client. Just knowing things like your ideal client's age. A lot of makeup artists, they say, I want to target age 18 to 80. And I love that. But you are trying to target millennials, baby boomers, you are trying to target Gen Z, Gen X, you are trying to target so many types of generation. And the way that you market to different generations is so different. So get really specific when you're talking about their age, a 10-year gap that you want to target. Also think about, where do they live? What do they do for work? Because this is going to really help you understand their budget, their money, and the prices that they are willing to pay. If your ideal client lives in an affluent area and, is getting married perhaps in a really, really expensive wedding venue, and they are booking the best photographer in London, and you're charging like nothing, are they gonna book you? It's gonna really start to help you understand your business, what you're offering, if you fit in their normal. Other things to think about is their lifestyle. Are they an introvert? Are they an extrovert? This is gonna really help you talk to them in your copy, on your website, and in your captions. I also want you to think about, if you're in like the wedding industry, think about where they're getting married. What are their top 3 venues? Who are their top 3 photographers? Where are they getting their dress from? What is their wedding budget? It's gonna help you start to put yourself in their world. If they are getting married at a super, super expensive venue and they are booking the top luxury suppliers, you're going to start to notice common threads in the way that those suppliers talk, the way they present themselves, the way that they market, the way that their website looks. And you can start to mold that and start to fit into this world. This is why ideal client is so, so important, because when you start to target one person in particular, from that, not only do you gain more bookings, you gain higher quality bookings. So if you need a little bit of help on figuring out your ideal client, I have got 3 options for you. Option number 1 is free. I would actually go and check out my podcast. I have dozens, I'm talking tons of podcast episodes on ideal client. I'm gonna link this one here. This is from the mini mentorship series that I did. It is a big, beefy, juicy episode, and I'm pretty sure somewhere in there is a digital download, which is like a 10-page book that I made, which has literally got the blueprint to creating your persona. Number 2, if you want to do a little weenie investment, I do have a makeup artist membership called the Level Up Club. You do get a whole podcast episode extra a week, but you also get access to my training library. In this training library, there is an entire hour-and-a-half training on ideal client and dozens more. Like literally, there are so many trainings in there that are really going to help you with the business and the strategy side, as opposed to the portfolio and the artistry side. It is £30 a month. It is a fully tax deductible expense. So if you want it, I will leave a free trial code right here, and you can even just use that code and just watch the training for free. It doesn't even matter. I don't care that much. Okay, tip number 3, if I was to do it all over again, is how visible I am as a business. Invisible businesses disappear, and I want you to write that down. This is the number 1 thing that held me back for so long. The likes of Charlotte Tilbury, the likes of Rare Beauty, the likes of Skin Rocks, all of the businesses that you look up to, the way that they got there was by becoming so freaking visible on Instagram, on TikTok, online, on Google. People will only find your business and book you and pay you for your services if you allow yourself to be found. If you haven't posted on Instagram in 8 months, or if you do not have a website, you are not visible. So what I want you to do is to hone in on those 3 things, or just pick one, and I would become the number 1 on all of those things. I would stop holding myself back and stop thinking that I'm not good enough, and I would act with big business energy, because that is the thing that is going to give me them big business results. So I would start to build up my reputation on all of those platforms. And Instagram is a given, and especially if you were targeting the millennial bride or the millennial client, that is the number 1 thing that is going to get you bookings with that type of client. So I would be on there. I would be posting BTS every day. I would be building my brand on Instagram. If you're going for the more Gen Z generation, you need to be on TikTok. And even for millennial, I would say you absolutely need to be on TikTok nowadays. But I would be cross-posting all my content from Instagram over to TikTok, and even even on YouTube Shorts as well. I would start to build up my following, my reputation over on social media. But I would also not sleep on the power of a website. And this is one thing that I did well, and I would redo this step if I could go back in time. I made a website almost immediately. I made a website and I didn't even have any portfolio images. I had to use stock images when I first made my website. But that was so key in the bookings that I got, especially those commercial bookings, those celebrity bookings, the really high ticket, big money bookings have always come from Google. A production assistant or a production manager, a producer is rarely going to book you from Instagram or TikTok. They're going to find your credible website. I created a website before I was ready to. Do not wait to be ready, because that is one thing you are going to constantly put off, because it's not an easy small task to do. But it doesn't have to be complicated. Nowadays, you don't need to be a coder to create a website. Pick a platform, pick a template, and go from there. My very first website was actually created on Wix, but I wouldn't really recommend Wix. I think you can always kind of tell a Wix website's a Wix website, if you know what I'm saying. I would just use Squarespace. This is what I use. I have 4 websites on Squarespace, so I'm quite the fan. And I would just pick a template. They have beautiful templates. And if you even go on Etsy, there are some Etsy sellers that have created even more beautiful templates for Squarespace. And I would use what I have. And that is exactly what I did. Every iPhone shot, every portfolio shot, every test shoot, I put on my website. And yes, at the beginning, it did not look cute, but what it allowed me to do was it allowed me to start to build up my SEO. Now, when you first make a website, you actually end up on like the bottom page of Google. SEO is basically where you rank on Google. You do not make a website and just end up on page 1. I was on page 90. The sooner that you make your website, the sooner you can start climbing those pages and implementing SEO. And when you're on page 1, let me tell you, when I hit page 1 on Google, I never, and to this day have not, worried about bookings again. When you're on page 1, you are so freaking visible, especially for your keywords. Like mine is London makeup artist London. But I still get a fully booked calendar if I want to, because I'm on page 1. If you are not a social media kind of gal, or if you fall off social media for a little bit and you're like, you know, you're having a little social media sabbatical, Google is the thing that continues to tick over. And Google is the shop that is open 24/7, 365. It never closes. Whereas Instagram, you stop posting on Instagram, you stop gaining traction, and your bookings start to slow down. If I had to do it all over again, I would absolutely go back, create my website again, build up my Google reviews again, work on my SEO again, whilst also simultaneously building up my reputation on TikTok and Instagram. If no one knows you exist, no one is booking you. Become visible. Make visibility your number 1 thing that you work on when your portfolio is in a pretty decent place. Okay, final thing that I would do differently. And this is something that took me far too long to really invest in and take seriously, and that is to invest in my branding. To this day, the number 1 thing that I see is makeup artists with no branding. I DIY'd my entire branding as soon as I learned Canva. And I had the same generic logo that every single makeup artist had. I had a very DIY feeling brand, and that can only take you so far. That will only take you here. And when you are aiming up here somewhere, the thing that's going to get you over that little hump is branding. I would go back and I would invest, and I would be so scared to do this, but I would do it, and I would invest in my branding. I would get a proper logo done, proper branding photography done, nice images of myself that are not just me at a wedding day after I've done 6 bridesmaids and I'm looking very, very worse for wear and I'm not my best self. I would get branding pictures taken that express what I want them to, the feeling that I want to give off, the vibe that I want to give off. It took me 10 years to get branding shots done. How embarrassing. I have not regretted a single branding shoot that I've done, and they have paid me off tenfold every single time. And I can hear what you're saying. How does a branding photograph pay off? But it adds to this thing called your brand. That is what people buy into. I would invest in paying somebody who can sort out my fonts, my colors, and my copy, and my website, to be honest. If you feel like you're looking at your business and it feels a little bit DIY, that's because it is. That is because you did not go to school to do this. You did not go to school to learn graphic design. You're a makeup artist. We rarely trust somebody to do our brand for us or our website for us because we think we know better. But do we not dislike that when our clients do that to us? We need to find somebody who we trust, who has got great reviews, who we know can take our DIY brand to the next level. And what that means is you can charge more. You will get a higher quality client, and you will be insanely magnetic to your ideal client. Only a branding professional can. Now, you might not have 3.5k to invest in a branding professional, so I get it. I get why we DIY our brands. So if you invest in anything, make it a priority to invest in your pictures of yourself. This is sometimes all you need that can tie you over to the moment where you are ready to invest. Now, if you pair all these things together, okay, let's pair them all together. Your brand is on point, you're visible as heck, you know who your ideal client is, and you are talking to them in everything you do. You are talking to them in your visuals, in your work, in your your captions, in your copy. Your website is created for them. On top of all that, your portfolio is a 10 out of 10. There is a very specific look in there and a very specific person. Combine all those elements together, and what do you get? You get fully booked, my people. So this is what I call my 4 keys to fully booked. These are the 4 keys that you need to unlock that treasure box that is fully booked. If you spend time on all 4 of these little things, they are going to build into a real legitimate business. It will not take you longer than 1 or 2 years to get there. So here's the deal. This is the part that I really want you to listen to, okay, guys? We are not aiming for perfect here. If I'm being really realistic, even if I go back and did this all over again, there's going to be times where I don't get it right. There are going to be times where you don't get it right either. There's going to be the content day that is completely unusable. There's going to be frustrations where you are building your website and you want to throw your laptop out the window. We're not aiming for perfect. We're aiming for progress. Progress, it stacks. If every single day you just spent an hour on your business, that is 365 hours that you have spent at the end of this year, and those compound. So I want you to keep posting. I want you to keep booking. I want you to cheerlead your damn self like every single booking is the Met Gala. I want you to keep putting your damn name out there. And by the end of this, you will have a 10 out of 10 portfolio. You will know your ideal client and you will be booking them. You will have a clear audience, a defined brand, and you will be visible as heck. If you liked this, you might want to go deeper with me. So I would recommend checking out my podcast here. My podcast is pretty much my full-time job. It is the best thing that I do. I love her very, very much. So please go and check her out and let me know in the comments below if you do listen to her. But if you want to go even deeper and you actually want to work with me and see me almost every single day, don't know why any of you guys would want to do that, but I do have a membership for makeup artists. It's £30 a month and you get so many trainings on every single thing that I've talked about. Branding, luxury branding, just everything. Go and check her out. I'll put her here. If you got something out of this video, if you took one note, could I please encourage you to hit the like button, because that really, really helps a teeny weeny channel like my own. And I'm going to be getting back into regular uploads. We have got a whole new camera here. Have we noticed the quality? Have we noticed? And we've got a brand new filming setup, so I am ready for my YouTube comeback. Just let me know if you're a regular watcher here. Please let me know in the comments below what you would like to see next, whether you want to see a weekly vlog or a day in the life, whatever it is. I will make it happen for you guys. I hope you liked this video and I'll catch you next week. Bye. I'm here. I want to show them the piggy. I want to show them the piggy. Say bye. Say bye. Bye.